I'm here at the NZIER to interview Shamubeel Eaqub. Kia ora everyone. I'd like to welcome Shamubeel Eaqub to our show. Kia ora Shamubeel.
Kia ora.
Shamubeel is a macroeconomist. Lots of important people in New Zealand and overseas ask his advice before they make big decisions. Shamubeel is also not afraid to share his views with people all across New Zealand, which gets him thinking and talking about how we can make New Zealand remarkable. He is also passionate about the education of young people and has helped to write a book about New Zealand's economy for high school students, and has also just published another book called Growing Apart. We think that Shamubeel is really cool.
Thank you.
Shamubeel, we are curious here at the Purple Cow Collective about what you were like as a child. What kind of things did you love to do when you were younger?
My favorite things were climbing trees, eating mangoes off the tree. When I was growing up in Bangladesh, we had all these massive trees in the back of our house, and my mother used to throw fits at it, so I used to go out climbing trees when she was having a nap in the afternoon.
Well, I actually quite like climbing trees, and my favorite fruit is a mango.
Is it really? Look at that. We could be twins. Yeah, what else did I like doing? I used to love reading books. Climbing trees and reading books were my two favorite things. So if the weather was not good outside, I used to stay inside and read books. And we used to have this big bookshelf. And my cousins and my aunties and my parents, they would always buy us books for our birthdays and every special occasion.
I am a good reader and I love books.
Yeah? Brilliant.
Books, yeah.
Because it's like a window into the world. You learn about so many things and you get to imagine these different worlds. I still love reading books. So I usually read about 1 to 2 books a week.
The other day I read from, this happens from India to Hawaii,
Yeah.
that there are these things called vampire crabs, and that's why I don't really want to go to Bangladesh.
I've never seen vampire crabs in Bangladesh, man. I think you're okay.
Okay. Who or what inspired you as a young person?
Probably my parents. So both my parents are really, really passionate about education, about success. And it wasn't success, and success wasn't about just being successful professionally, it was being about a good person. So my dad in particular, he's a very generous man. He taught me a lot about looking after people, being good to your friends and your family. So that was probably my biggest inspiration, probably my dad.
Not like my uncle.
Not like your uncle? Why? What's wrong with your uncle?
We call him Uncle Scrooge.
Really? Is he not generous though? That's okay. Every family has one of those.
You are a macroeconomist. Can you explain to us in kids' language what one does?
So the macroeconomist, so what I do is I tell people what happens in the broader community that we live in. So you know how your friend's dad might have got a job or not got a job, and that's affected by what the kind of things that we're talking about. So when I think about what an economy is and what a macroeconomy is, it's all about how do we interact with each other. Are we buying and selling more stuff? Do people have more jobs? Are the prices of things going up? Will your mum buy you Xbox next week? All of those kinds of things. So a lot of it is about helping people think about what might happen in the future and to understand what's happened in the past.
Okay. When did you decide to become a macroeconomist and why?
It actually happened as a bit of an accident. My sister was studying economics at university, and she said, oh, this is really cool, and you should do it. And so I did. And then, like anything in life, you can't plan everything sometimes. When you get an opportunity, when somebody asks you to do something really cool, you have the choice to say yes or no. And I always say, because you got to go ahead and have fun, and you got to take the opportunities that come towards you.
Okay. So is that how you became a macroeconomist?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many things. When I look back on how I became what I am today, it was because of a whole bunch of little things. But the big story underneath was Education was always very important, so my dad and my mum always said, whatever you do, you should love doing it, and you should be fantastic at it. And economics is doing, and I think I'm very good at it, so I always put a lot of effort and time into doing economics.
Can you think of 2 things that young people like me should know about the economy?
2 things that you should know about the economy. Good, that's a hard question. What should we know? I think one, that everything is connected. So whether I choose to buy and sell something will have a big effect on everybody else. So what do I mean by that? An economy is all of us put together, right? In New Zealand, we've got 4.5 million people, and a lot of these people are workers, some of them might be business owners, and other people might be doing other things. And what each of us do individually matters, because together that's what the economy is made up of. So we can never forget that everything about the economy is, one, interconnected, and what we choose to do in one place has an effect somewhere else.
So kind of like cutting down a tree can affect like air, and like there'll be lots of carbon dioxide.
Absolutely, that's absolutely right. And I think that's a really good analogy, because you're describing a whole ecosystem, a whole environment. And if you take one thing out, it has an effect on everything. Sometimes it might be a small effect or a big effect.
My whānau tell me that people from Asia will play a big part in our future. For example, we will be competing for jobs and businesses. Do you have any advice for young people on the type of skills that they will need to develop to come into this market?
So, the rise of Asia is a really big thing. So it's happening already. The countries in Asia are becoming educated, their economies are growing, they're competing more. And that has 2 impacts. One, it can be a bit of a threat to us, because some of the jobs that exist in New Zealand today may not exist anymore, because those things might be done in, say, China or India or Bangladesh. And at the same time, it also creates lots of opportunities for us, because there's all these people now with lots of money who want to buy stuff from us. So it's really being prepared for that new market, those new opportunities that are coming. And what can you do to take advantage of it? Well, there are really 2 things. One is understanding what those countries are, understanding the culture of it, and the other one is to become very well educated. Because education is the one thing that opens up doors everywhere. And if you're good at what you do, you'll be able to compete and be the best at it no matter what happens in the world. The other thing I didn't mention was language. Learning how to speak to other people, having access to those ability to communicate with others, really important. In New Zealand, we have twice as many people learning Spanish as Mandarin. Now, the thing is, Spanish is a lovely language, but a lot of Mandarin speakers are going to be the ones who want to do business with us and will come and want to do holidays in our country. So we should really be putting more effort into learning languages like Mandarin.
Learning all of the big countries' languages like
That's right.
China, which is Mandarin.
Absolutely. And look at that, you're good.
Here at the Purple Cow Collective, we want to encourage other young people to be remarkable. We want them to develop an unshakable belief in themselves and make them a positive difference in the lives of others. Is there any advice that you can give to young people like me that want to do something that can make a positive difference but don't feel confident about doing it?
You should be confident, because anything is possible. What I always tell my little cousins is that you have to dream really big dreams, because anything is possible. New Zealand is a wonderful country. If you put in the effort and you work hard, you can make it happen. So there is absolutely no reason why you shouldn't have the biggest, brightest, shiniest dream. And that's the best thing that you can do. Have the dream that you really, really love, something that you really want to do. Because the thing is, that will be so much easier to work on. It'll be so much easier to study. It'll be so much easier to do everything that you need to do if you have that big dream, because that's really what motivates everybody, including young people like you.
Yeah. Our football team isn't very good and I want to become a professional football player.
You need to start somewhere, right? I used to play football when I was in school, Our team wasn't very good. We were in the 5th division, I think, but we did finally win one season, and that was pretty cool.
Finally, if you were a young person today, what kind of attitude would you have to your life?
Positive, optimistic, and confident. You always need to think about opportunities, the things that are good in life, and the things that you want to achieve. And a lot of it is not just about achieving for yourself, but doing things that are good for everybody. You know, one of the things that I was telling you about my dad, he always taught me that it's really nice to be able to think about making other people happy, because happiness is not just about you, it's about the community as well. But fundamentally, we live in a country that's fantastic, right? New Zealand is a pretty cool place. And it's always about thinking about what can we do to make it even better. So Messi, I've got a question for you. What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a professional football player who plays for Bayern Munich and a politician.
And a politician?
Yeah.
Well, do you want to be Prime Minister?
Well, yeah, I do.
What would you do if you were Prime Minister?
I would probably make sure the environment's good and that there are no poverty issues and stuff. And maybe don't spread out all of New Zealand with all the houses everywhere, make it all close up and stuff. Is that a big issue?
Because the things that you're talking about are very important and very big issues, because the environment is something that we can never exploit, right? Because it's not just for us, it's for future generations as well. On things like poverty, it's something that's really critical, not just the poor people in New Zealand, but the poor people elsewhere in the world.
Thank you, Shamubeel, for sharing your time with us. I can't wait to share your advice and tips with my community.
Thank you for having me. Do I start?